What's up, guys? Welcome back to the JP and Trav show on the JP and Trav YouTube channel and also live from Travis's X account. As always, it's your host with the most, JP. And to my right, you do not see my esteemed co host yet. He's on his way in. But you do see somebody who, as we said, the past few weeks, because we've had Jay on the show a few times, we called him Cousin Jay. We call him Cousin Jay. We call you Uncle Ty. Okay. Call him Uncle Ty came back to the show because he's been on here. I mean, just a linear times throughout the time we've been on YouTube as a platform, and so he's such a regular. He's family around here. Y'all know him. Welcome Ty Hayes to the show. Ty, how you doing, brother?
Hey, always good to come on. I was with Jay last night. Told him the toothbrush is still at the house, and so it's only fitting that now I get to hang out with y'all. It's been way too long, man.
Yeah, yes, indeed. It has been a long time, and hey, I mean, another perfect segue into you being here with Oklahoma, going on the road to Bama and everything like that. Now I do want to give you the opportunity, of course, off the rip tie. We had a bye week, and so we had time to kind of sit back and lick our chops a little bit, but you guys played LSU and yes, LSU obviously is going through a crazy situation right now with the Brian Kelly thing and Scott Woodward leaving and all that the mumbo jumbo is going on down there. But they're still a talented roster, and so it's not just an easy win all the time. But you guys got it done. But I want to give you the opportunity as we bring in Trav. I wanted to give you the opportunity, Ty, just to talk a little bit about how you felt about Bama's performance and maybe what you're feeling going into the Oklahoma game.
Yeah, defensively, Alabama has really come on as the season has progressed. The front seven for Alabama has really started to play better. There's three linebackers that I'm very comfortable with, and actually, before the LSU game, Yanze Pierre was only two or three pressures behind the guy who's generated the most pressures in the SEC. Yanze Pierre wasn't the starter. He came in when Quay Russaw went down, and he's actually like among the highest in SEC win percentage off the edge.
Mm.
Um, he has morphed into from a pure pass rusher into just a defensive weapon. And so that was really fun to see. For Alabama's offense, things have been kind of teetering the last 2 weeks where there's a trend. Alabama will start, they'll score, they will kind of have down periods, and then you give them the ball with 2 minutes left before half, and that's the worst thing to do. Like maybe more so than any other team in the country, as crazy inconsistent as Alabama's offense can be, you give them the ball with 2 minutes before the half, they're scoring. Like that's we've just seen it so many times this year. Um, Alabama's inability to run the ball is kind of baffling. And I know that part of the ugliness of the LSU game is they made it a point to really try and run the ball against LSU. But the one thing I will say to your point is LSU is still very talented. And they had made it a point going into that game of kind of having this mindset of we have nothing to lose. Like if we lose this game, we lose. But if we beat them, we ruin their season. Like so it was kind of that wounded animal effect, and Indiana kind of just had that same thing happen to them, right?
Mm.
Where you're taking on a Penn State who, oh well, Franklin's not there, you should roll them over, and it's like you're playing a team that is just looking to punch you over and over and over again. So yeah, this is a totally different beast, right? I like LSU in pieces they have in the secondary very well. I like some of the pieces they have up front. I like Oklahoma's entire defense. And so it's just a totally different beast, the Oklahoma game as opposed to the LSU game.
Yeah. Trav, I want to give you a chance to come in here, brother, and what you been up to? How you doing?
Good, good. Just man, busy. Getting ready to leave, obviously, to hit the road tomorrow. And yeah, trying to close out a private school in Texas. to bring on their baseball program. I should learn more about that tomorrow. It's a big time one. Actually, Jason Witten is the football coach at this particular school. Really nice private
Is
school
that
down.
like a few minutes from where I'm sitting? Right.
Yeah. So we'll see. I think I like our prospects on that one a lot. Getting signed up for all kinds of conventions. I'm going to Columbus for the American Baseball Coaches Association show. I'm going to Kansas City for the American Volleyball Coaches Association show. I'm going all over the place. So all in the next like 6 weeks. So staying busy, but really couldn't be happier to have our brother Ty with us to talk a little Bama, Oklahoma, to see if Alabama can knock off Oklahoma from defending their Alabama state title, as they've already taken care of Auburn this year. They look to go repeat to print the shirts. So we'll see if the Tide are up to the task. Obviously, 5.5-point favorites, but I think the way a lot of the national people are coming at this, you would expect this to be like a 12-point spread, 12.5. But just the way the national people are talking about it, because I don't think the national people have watched the last few weeks. And I'm not saying that we've got Adrian Peterson in the backfield all of a sudden, but how many SEC teams have had 3 100-yard rushers at the running back position against their last 3 SEC opponents? I mean, I don't know how many they are. It feels like Le'Veon Moss is, probably one of them. It feels like I don't know, maybe Ahmad Hardy has been putting up numbers. I don't know, but the fact that Torrey Blaylock went for 100 and then Xavier's coming off back-to-back 100-yard games, I think obviously some continuity on the offensive line, and then EPL getting a little bit of nastiness in a guard. It's just been a bit of a changed unit, and I learned from Joel Klatt and Josh Pate this week, at least one friend of the show, that Oklahoma can't run the ball this year, which is, again, might have been true to start the year, but these last 3 games, they've come on nicely. Holes have opened up. Mateer is running better than he has at any point in time post-surgery. He's running with a lot more confidence. And I think what's interesting is I think a lot of the national people look at Mateer's numbers and they're like, well, his hand's clearly screwed up still or something like that because he only threw for 160 yards at Tennessee. But the thing is, like, John Mateer being healthy, when you watch him, is there zip on the ball, on the out routes, and is he running the ball with confidence? Because if he's doing that, then that's the clean bill of health I'm looking for. This guy is not going to be a guy that throws for 400 yards with a healthy hand. He just doesn't. Not in this iteration of Oklahoma's offense. So it's interesting. The national perspective is kind of all over the place, but I think Vegas knows what they're talking about. I think this one's going to be a good game.
Yeah. And some Ty and I were talking about, actually off air, was we were interested, specifically him, he was interested in the national media's kind of perception of this game, feeling like Alabama is going to kind of roll Oklahoma. It's easy for us, Trav, right? I feel like to, obviously defend our team a little bit and be like, hey, now, like, Bama's good, but like, we're not just going in there to get, just to lay down, we're coming to wreck some shop. And so, Ty, I mean, give us a little bit, maybe from your perspective, what worries you about Oklahoma, and then maybe we can do vice versa, kind of where we're concerned a little bit about, Bama.
Yeah, I think one of the things I agree with Trav. I wish I have seen or had seen what Josh Pate has seen. And I love Josh, right? Great guy, great content, the gold standard. Even Brandon Marcello was on, I forget the name of the program, Next Round, I think. And he was saying, oh, Bama fans don't need to be worried. And I was like, what have you seen that I haven't seen? And this isn't to say that I think Oklahoma is a complete team, right? Like, I do think there are ways Alabama should look to attack. I think what they need to do first and foremost is scrap what happened last year, this notion of whatever they did defensively last year, and you guys know my rant about that. You're playing a team that hasn't shown to throw the ball. So what do? You go a 3-man front. That's fantastic. Great job. Yeah, so scrap that. But I don't know what they've seen that has given them this like, oh, well, Bama's going to win by 2 scores, 10 points, 14 points. It's not, don't worry. This is a game I think is going to be very close. I said on Jay's show last night, I have Alabama 21-17. That's kind of the range I'm looking at here. I don't think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I think this is going to be a very good game. What worries me about Oklahoma is your front seven. You're very good in that front seven. Your linebackers are very good. Your defensive line, very good. Brent is an aggressive mind. It's part of the thing that I think is so fascinating about him. But this OU team, he doesn't have to be as aggressive as I think that even like Brent is, because you're so good up front that you're getting all of these pressures without even blitzing. But when you are playing someone like Ty Simpson, I'm really excited to see how he tries and confuse the look pre and post snap. Because Ty Simpson, Tennessee Aguilar might have better stats throwing the ball. Oklahoma hasn't faced a quarterback as good as Ty Simpson in terms of making NFL throws and identifying what a defense is doing. Like, go back and see what he did to Georgia. He was a step ahead of Kirby Smart the entire game in terms of diagnosing. Now you're playing another defensive guru in Brent Venables, right? If you're asking me the 2 best defensive minds in college football, I'm probably going to tell you Brent and Kirby. However you want to order them as you will. But those are the 2. That to me is the chess match. But it has to happen because Alabama doesn't run the ball very well. Alabama's defense or offensive line has got to give Ty time. And Alabama's offense has got to be very purposeful for what they do. I said this to Jay yesterday. There are ways I think you can attack Brent Venables' defense, but the hard part is in order to get to those plays, you have to have some level of foundational play calling. Brent does a great job of taking the foundation out. So you could think like, oh, there's this sequence of plays we run, and the play will run the 7th time as a slight iteration of it. That's the one that's like the knockout blow. But the problem is he's taking out the foundation so frequently that you don't get to put the roof on the house. And so this is a brilliant chess match. I can't wait.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. Ty's been, the best SEC quarterback, this year, pound for pound, all the way through until this week. I think, obviously a lot of people are smitten with Marcel Reed and just, the athleticism that he presents. But in terms of obviously pure quarterbacking the position, Ty's been the best. And he's shown that, like you said, week after week, to the point where, Alabama, you guys can't run the ball as well this year, but you haven't needed to because Ty's just been so efficient. More often than not, and you got playmakers out there, Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard and everything like that. So I know that's something that concerns me is just, can we get to you guys? Because if we don't, and he has time, I think he's going to be able to find spots, especially if we send pressure. He's pretty good against pressure. It'll be interesting to see what Brent ends up doing. But that would be my worry is I think our back end is definitely certainly not the strength of our defense, though they're not bad. Our defense, passing defense, top 10,
they're good.
They're good, you know what I mean? But they're not the strength. And so, if you're going to attack anywhere, that's certainly where it would be. But Trav, I'm interested to hear maybe some things that worries you about this matchup.
Yeah, to me, it comes down to how quickly Ty processes defenses, because with Trinidad Chambliss, the reason we lost that game is because Oklahoma couldn't cash in their pass rush. It was Oklahoma wins at the highest rate, at the pressure rate at the highest in the country without blitzing. So when you need to be able to do that, to be able to drop into coverage like you did with Tennessee, and force mistakes if there are mistakes to be had, right? That was the plan against Tennessee, was we're going to give them different looks. We're going to make it look like cover one. We're going to drop out into something else. We're going to let, that's how Peyton Bowen got his pick, is because after the game, Joey Aguilar just straight up said, they fooled me. I looked at one thing. I didn't see him. I thought I had it, and I let it rip. So, as you go down the, our last 3 games, right? Or at least our last 2 games, the Ole Miss game, Oklahoma they were a step away from Trinidad Chambliss like 10 times. He gets loose, and whether he just throws it away or completes something downfield, it doesn't matter for this argument. If he throws it away, that 2nd and 18 turns to 2nd and 10, right? That 3rd and 23 turns to 3rd and 10. Like, if you're able to move and throw the ball away when this pressure's bearing down on you and you're able to outrun our edge rushers, then you got problems, because Brent Venables often, deploys extra help to the rush. And let's be honest, a lot of these SEC wide receivers, they're getting open if you're giving them 8 seconds, 9 seconds, 10 seconds. Like, they're just getting open. So, like, with that being said, while Ty Simpson is not a mobile quarterback like Trinidad Chambliss, he's a much faster processor than Joey Aguilar. So when it came to Joey, it was pass rush got home and forced him into mistakes or sacked him or something like that. Oklahoma still had 14 tackles for loss against Ole Miss. They lead the nation in tackles for loss. They're going to force Alabama into negative plays, but they throw the ball well. This is not an offense that relies on the run, and they're like, okay, well, I guess if we get to a 2nd and 14, we can't get out of this thing. Alabama's going to be able to get out of those, but it's going to be, can the pass rush get home before the supercomputer in Ty Simpson's head identifies what they're trying to do? I think what's going to help, obviously, is Brent Venables knows they can't run the ball very well against our front four. I think our front four is very good. You can commit people to that while, sending blitzes up the middle with the linebackers, or just helping with run fits with the linebackers. Like, you don't need to bring a lot of corner blitzes or, bring both safeties down to the line. Like, you don't need to do that in this game. You're going to be able to stop the run. So, like, try and confuse Ty as much as possible, but he's only going to be fooled a couple times. You've got to cash in on that, just like you talked about the foundation of that. You've got to build foundational looks and survive on those foundational looks for long enough on the drive to where now you set up the kind of okey doke with him and be like, hey, we've shown him this look 3 times. Man, we maybe bent, but we didn't break. Now's the time. Boom. Now we pull it on him. He thought he'd seen film where this guy drops. Well, he's coming this time. Or he thought this was the same in the first quarter. When this guy drops, he's coming this time. So I think that's where it comes down to, is it's pass rush just has to get home, or else Ty Simpson's going to eat you alive. Obviously, 7 of his first 7 on 3rd down against Georgia really, really set the tone in that game. Let Kirby know, look, man, like, there may be nothing we can do against this guy on 3rd down. So Oklahoma's got to take that, and Brent Venables, it's the biggest challenge of his season so far. So off of a bye week, I hope he's prepared for it, because even Ole Miss, like, I think Brent put his guys in position to succeed. It was bad penalties. It was a bad special teams turnover, right? It was some bad luck. It was guys not being able to get Trinidad Chambliss on the ground when they had him dead to rights. Like, those are not scheming issues. Like, Brent Venables schemed up a win. Ben Arbuckle schemed dudes wide open, and John just didn't hit him. So, like, the scheming of it, I'm not concerned about. It's the players have got to execute on the road in a tough environment against a roster that's more talented than theirs.
Yeah, and I completely agree. It's actually, Travis, I said the same thing to Jay last night, where I was like, I don't think the thing that I think, if you're Oklahoma, if I'm Brent Venables, I'm not worried about, like, loading the box to stop the run. I'm going to go into the assumption of, like, hey, if you can run against my front four, I'll address it accordingly. But, like, you have to prove to me that you can do that. I'm not going to let you just get the ball off. It's a totally different offense too, right? This is, I think, what makes this matchup so great. is Alabama's offense is totally different than some of the pass offenses that Oklahoma has played to this point, in that it's not really predicated on the big play. Like, they're a control offense without really being able to run the football, which is really unique in the SEC, the fact that they're throwing the ball to control. And JP and I were talking about this in the green room. The other thing that kind of separates Alabama into a different type of challenge. I'm not saying one way or another, like, oh, it's the fact that, like, when you're at Tennessee, you know, you have Brazil is a great wide receiver, and I actually think Tennessee's slot wide receiver is a real pain to stop. I think the kid's very talented and just doesn't get the play. But Bama's like 4 or 5 deep in terms of threats in the receiving game. From Ryan Williams, Jeremy Bernard, Isaiah Horton, Lotzier Brooks, Rico Scott, Josh Cuevas. Like, these are all guys that are contributing at a high level. And so that's it. I'm so excited to see the schematic chess match we're going to watch.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it's kind of similar. You brought up the throw to possess thing, or throw to control the clock, things like that. Oklahoma did that similarly against Tennessee. They only had one pass play over 15 yards, yet they threw for 12 first downs. I mean, that's hard to do. Like, it's hard to throw for 12 first downs and only have one pass play over 15 yards. That shows me that they're getting to 3rd and 4, they're getting to 3rd and 5, and they're throwing out routes. They're finding a spot in the zone. They're doing something to move the chains, and then we start over again. Because what you want to do to offenses like Ole Miss, hopefully we didn't do it all that well, obviously. With Tennessee's offense, obviously with Alabama's offense, you got to keep them off the field. Like, you have to. So, like, and you may not be predicated on the big play, but any of those playmakers can break something at any given moment. So if you don't have any help, you could be succumbing to the big play before you know it. So I think that's what's interesting is both offenses kind of throw to possess right now. Oklahoma running the ball better as late, as I mentioned, but it's really, when it comes down to it, Ben Arbuckle is thinking players, not plays. And he's like, look, I trust Isaiah Satania and I trust John Mateer to go get me a 3rd down pickup. And that's what he's doing.
Yeah. I think both of you guys have made great points, valid points, all the way around. And I truly, for me, I think what it is going to come down to is coaching. As most games do, we know that. But I mean, talent wise, I think, you know, I wouldn't say that either team is necessarily, you know, Bama maybe you could say has recruited a little better throughout the years and everything like that. But I don't think you look at the teams and say, oh, there's a giant talent discrepancy or something like that. You know, I think you guys have more talented receivers than us. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you know, our defense is what it is. So those kind of even each other out. But what decisions do Kalen DeBoer and Brent Venables make throughout the course of the game? How do special teams factor in? And who makes the play? I think that's what it's going to come down to. Is who makes the play, whether it's an offensive play, a defensive play, that shifts the game. And I think that and in Tennessee or in Neyland Stadium in Knoxville 2 weekends ago, you know, our defense made a litany of plays in the first half that allowed us to, you know, sustain some. I wouldn't say ineptness. I wouldn't go that far. I think that certainly we didn't do things we would have liked to do in the first half, but I wouldn't say it was like catastrophic. We just weren't playing well, and it allowed us to, you know, get back in the game in the second half and actually play decently. And, you know, the result was what it was. And so I think I'll be interested to see if that happens again, if our defense can make some plays. If that happens, I feel pretty good, even being at Bama. But if Ty is allowed to just throw around the yard all day, then, you know, I feel like it could be close to that line, if not a little bit more.
One thing for me that Alabama's defense has got to do is they've got to get the turnover. And that's something that Alabama's defense is among the best in the nation at. I mean, they are just extending this turnover streak where last week they probably should have had an interception. They didn't. Bray Hubbard, who is an interception machine, had one slip right through his hands in the end zone. But then you saw Nakai Hill-Green, to y'all's former boy, Bauer Sharp. He broke free, and Nakai Hill-Green tracked him down, and Peanut Tillman punched that ball out. But Bama's very good at generating turnovers. And part of the strength of Alabama's defense, right, where we talk about Oklahoma, and I think that y'all's entire defense is very good. But if I told Jay this last night, if you told me, hey, you can only watch either the front half of Oklahoma's defense or the back half, I'm going to tell you all day, all due respect to the back half of Oklahoma's defense, I'm watching that front. Because it's Brent Venables. Like, that's the bread and butter of what he does, and it's just so fun to watch. Bama's front, it's kind of the same thing, where it's like, I think y'all's secondary is good. I think Bama's front is pretty good. They're getting better. But Bama's secondary is, like, actually legit in terms of, and I said this on Jay's show, they call, have y'all heard the nickname for Bray Hubbard? He's the Honky Badger.
Oh, yeah.
The what?
The Honky Badger.
I didn't realize that's who that was.
Yeah. So
That's
he's a monster. He's been such a fantastic addition. But something that a lot of people, it's kind of flown under the radar. Y'all have y'all's freshman quarterback Gilroy that is playing really good football. Y'all know Damani Jackson had his spot kind of taken by a true freshman corner who's 6'5", Dejon Lee, who is allowing, I think he's the third or fourth highest graded corner in the SEC right now.
He's 6 foot what?
I remember him coming out of high school, and I was like 6'5" corner. I was like, there's no way that they have him play corner. I'm like, there's simply no way. Like, he's going to be a safety. They might try and pack some weight on him or, whatever. Yeah, I did not expect him out of high school to play corner in college, especially not at a high level. And
then you have Pickett at LSU, who's like 6'4". So you got these huge cornerbacks coming out of nowhere.
Which is not to say, like, it's not a dog on him that he can't play 6'5" or Pickett can't play 6'4". There's no precedent in the NFL for it. Like, there's no 6'4", 6'5" corners in the NFL. And I fight that in recruiting all the time because all of these kids, man, I can't believe we're getting this 5'11" corner. But I'm like, look at the top 10 corners in the NFL. They're all like 5'10" or 5'11", like 6 foot maybe. Like, it's people live in this weird world where every wide receiver has to be 6'6" and every corner has to be like 6'3". And then you look at like the best receivers in the NFL and they're all like 5'11", 6 foot. Like, the other day I was talking to one of my buddies about a running back because we just got a commitment from like a 5'9" kid. He's like, man, it's no good. I was like, they're like 9 of the top 10 running backs in the NFL in the yardage leaders are 5'11" or shorter. The only one that's bigger is Derrick Henry. And literally he's like known for being huge. So,
and he's just a freak.
Right. And it's interesting when we start talking about, height. It's like, 6'5" and 6'4" corners unheard of in the NFL. Like, unheard of. So it's funny how, as people talk about recruiting and whatnot, they think everybody's just a basketball player all of a sudden, which not the case.
All right, I guess I was wrong. He's 6'4".
I mean, still.
Okay. Oh, here it comes. Here now. See, had to go on a little rant to get the truth out of my guy. He was adding a couple extra inches like it was a Tinder bio. Yeah, 6'4", 6'4". Yeah, not 6'6". 6'4", still big corner, but not 6'6".
Yeah, 6'4" is still gigantic. That'll be
all corner.
That'll be interesting to watch.
If you watch the LSU game, JP, when they threw to that 6'7" tight end in the end zone,
Trades Green or whatever.
Yeah, Dejoun Lee is the one who they had him one-on-one with this tight end who's just huge, and Dejoun Lee out jumps him and knocks the ball away.
Really.
He's a fun player, man. Like he's a really cool player to see as he continues to develop.
I really quickly I want to get to a score prediction, and then we can spend the rest of our time just answering some general questions from the chat. But obviously, the line is what, 5.5?
That's what I saw it at today.
Okay, so Bama 5.5. How do y'all feel about that?
Accurate. I think it's a low scoring game necessarily. I know it got bet up a point. I think it's like 46.5 now or something like that.
Yeah.
I think this is a lot different than the Alabama and Oklahoma offenses, or at least the Oklahoma defense. It's a lot different than like 2018 or anything like that, where you just had Kyler almost able to lead a comeback all by his lonesome, after he went down. Like they're just different teams, right? And they're both possession people, they're both control people. The defenses are good, So I think it's in the 20s. Honestly, I think, or like Ty said, he gave a 21-17 before. I think that's totally reasonable score. I do think that Oklahoma's red zone defense will force Alabama to kick a field goal at some point. So Brent Venables.
God, I hope not. We don't have y'all's kicker. I hope not.
Nobody's got our kicker, baby. I joked earlier on radio because he now tied the record for longest kick ever kicked in Neyland. So I was like, Tate Sandell is going to be like some little badass golfer that just shows up to every stadium going, all right, what's the course record? Like, hey, where's the first tee and what's the course record? That's all I need to know, baby. He's just going to walk in, and we do know that the record in Bryant-Denny is 57. So if he lines up for a 58-yarder, get your popcorn ready.
Yeah.
Which you guys actually kicked under Saban, I think. Shockingly, because you guys famously had bad kickers under Saban.
That's why every time we miss a field goal, I just sit there and I scream, "We're back!" Like we're back baby. To the glory days, baby. Yeah, I already gave mine 21-17. But I think like 24-20, right? Like there's that line of score. That's what I'm really looking at.
Yeah.
I think 5.5 is much more reasonable than kind of what I've been hearing on the national pundit side. Listen, it would give me great joy to come on here with conviction and be like, oh, I think Alabama handles. Of course, I'm a Bama fan, and I do think that Bama has some paths to victory here. But I don't agree with this notion that it's like, oh, well, Bama shouldn't even be worried. Because it's like, hey, have you not seen that defense? Like, if you're not on your P's and Q's, you're going to have a bad time. So I think 21-17.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 27-24 Oklahoma. I think Tate Sandell kicks a couple of field goals, and it may take a defensive score to get that third touchdown. But I do think Oklahoma's found some stuff. I think after the bye, I think they've got Mateer feeling as healthy as he's felt all year, as comfortable as he's felt all year behind a retooled offensive line that's got a little nastiness to it. Going back and rewatching a lot of the Tennessee tape and just focusing on the offensive line, man, they look good, especially considering there's 3 freshmen on that offensive line. And Tennessee came into the night 8th in the country in sacks. Yeah. So, I mean, they had their work cut out for them. They rushed for 192 yards. They had 5 explosive runs. It's they did their job. So I think John Mateer's got confidence not only in his own health. He's got confidence in his receivers. He's got confidence in his backs. I think Caden Helms getting healthy has been a big deal when it comes to blocking. I think he's been a maniac blocking, been doing a really good job helping spring that run game. So I think Oklahoma's offense is peaking at the right time, maybe. Maybe it's a little bit early to be the right time, but for all intents and purposes, It's November, baby. It's mid-November. It's time to start playing your best football. So I think Oklahoma's offense is peaking at the right time. I think I liked what I saw from Jermichael Carter getting in there, our big-bodied wide receiver. I think we'll need him. I think that, again, run game, offensive line, I think everything about the offense is in better shape, and I'm interested to see what Brent can do with a one-dimensional Bama offense, even though that one dimension is extremely good at kind of offsetting a lot of his disguises. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if this were just a random air raid offense and it was like, hey, we don't run the ball, Brent would be like, oh, okay, like, I get like shutout incoming. But like what Alabama's specifically good at one-dimensionally is, breaking those disguises, breaking those different looks, like actually not getting fooled at the line of scrimmage by Brent. So that's what I'm looking at. I think 27-24 feels high to me, but it's what I'm going with.
I can see that. I mean, you said it's 46. Is that what it is right now? The over and under?
46.5, I think, last time I saw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to say 24-21, Oklahoma. I think that, like you said, Trav, Oklahoma's offense, X-Rob is peaking at the right time, and Bama knows plenty about X-Rob from last year. And so hoping that we can get him.
If they go into a 3-man front, I am going to break walls.
Hopefully, they do that and can get him going. But also, I think you heard Brent talk about it a little bit. I don't know if it was today or yesterday, but John Mateer's hand clearly is getting a bit better. Let me say there's more zip on the ball. And I get that people are like, hey, if he's playing, if he's out there, I don't want to hear excuses. And I don't know that it's excuses that's being said rather than just, hey, this is the facts. John's not the kid that's going to complain and say that his hand is bothering him, which I love about him in ways, right? That he's that type of leader, right? He's not going to make those excuses. But I think it's unrealistic to say, hey, you had hand surgery, no matter who the guy is that did it, and you're just perfect again. Like, you're right back to the form that you were in. I think that's unrealistic to say that he should have been, the John Mateer that he was at the beginning, on top of the fact he also had a sprained knee. It seems like both the knee and the hand are getting a little bit back to form, back to where he was. And Ty, I talked about this on the show. Travis heard this from me before. I think I've been annoyed with some of our own fans, not necessarily the media pundits. I haven't heard this as much from them, but some of our own fans that oh, John's just not. He's not it. He's not that guy. He's never been, good throw to football, etc., whatever. And I was just like, I don't know, because I feel like the first 4 weeks, like he was making some high level throws, that was seen on film. You know what I mean? Now, again, like Trav said, I'm not saying he's a Ty Simpson. I'm not saying that he's a, that he's just going to go in and carve defenses up per se, but he made layered throws in the Michigan game, plenty of them. He led a game-winning drive in the Auburn game, making throws that he needed to make tight window throws. And so to say he can't do it, I think is disingenuous. And I think is, not giving credence to the fact that, hey, the thumb is probably affecting him, whether he's going to say it or not. So I'm looking forward to see, obviously pieces of that too have to do with his mind. I'm not going to completely put on, like, he still shouldn't make throws that he shouldn't make. But again, your confidence gets shaken by injury, no matter where it is, right? It can affect your mental no matter what body part is hurt. So I'm hoping that he is, again, continuing to ascend. We saw him get better and better in the second half against Tennessee, and with another week off, hopefully he's even better, physically. That way, his mental makeup will be better.
Yeah, I like kind of Travis said how he thought that there could be a defensive touchdown. I'm kind of on the same boat as him, but on the flip side of that, right, for Alabama, because Bama has been so good at baiting quarterbacks into interceptions and being able to get that ball out for fumbles that I think in this game, if I'm Kane Womack, I'm really asking my defense, I'm challenging them like, hey, we got to have the turnovers in this game. If that ball comes out, it's got to be ours. And one thing Kane does really well that I didn't really get to touch on is when he's playing a quarterback that throws a lot, he's really good at confusing them. I think the first half last year against Georgia was a great example of that, where Carson Beck was just confused at what was post snap. And so I think you have to do that against Mateer. Obviously, you got to try and stop that run game too, because I do agree with Trav that OU, if this was 3 weeks ago and people were like, "Oh, OU can't run the ball," I'd be like, "Yeah, it hasn't worked out so far," but kind of like Bama. But X-Rob's come on. Like y'all's running game has definitely been improving, and Bama's got to try and stifle that.
As they should. I think they should make Mateer throw the ball. I mean, make him prove it. And what's your guys' ranking in terms of turnovers, Ty? You said.
I haven't gotten a chance to check on the rankings.
They're one of the best.
Yeah, I know that whenever I went to watch UNT, I got to go to UNT versus USF. I was
Nice.
in the end zone for that game. UNT was the number 1 team in the nation in terms of turnover margin, and Bama was number 2. So they're really high, where Ty Simpson has had a couple fumbles, 1 interception, but Bama's really good at generating those turnovers on defense.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think when you look at our kind of like we didn't have I don't think we had like any turnovers through. Was Kent State our first turnover that we forced? It could have been. Yeah, because we forced 2 there, but we didn't have any turnovers against Illinois State, Michigan, Temple, Auburn. We didn't have any against Texas. So that really tanked our turnover ranking. There's no digging out of that. But we forced 5 turnovers in the last 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's one of those things. Like Oklahoma's defense has been more opportunistic. I think part of that is Brent's trusting his front 4 to get pressure more and more, and he's more comfortable giving help to his secondary. And so it's funny. It's 5 turnovers in the last 3 weeks. We've been scoring more in the last 3 weeks than we have been. We've been running the ball better than we have in our last 3 weeks than any time before. So, again, I think this Oklahoma team is getting better each week, and a lot of the statistics, like I said, run, just score in general, turnovers, all those things are pointing in that direction. And I think that's why a lot of people after the Texas game were like, bro, these people may not even make a bowl. Like with the schedule they have left and how bad they looked against Texas, they may not make a bowl. So now sitting at 7-2, going to Alabama as 5.5-point dogs with an opportunity to put yourself firmly in the conversation to basically be favored to be in the playoff if you can get a win this weekend. So it was a heck of a time to flip the switch, but it seems like at least a little bit they flipped it. Maybe it's a dimmer. They didn't flip the switch. They just kind of like made it a little bit brighter. And then hopefully like they slammed the dimmer up this weekend. But, the thing that inspires me about this Oklahoma team and concerns me a little bit at the same time is this team has not played a complete game of football yet. And so that it inspires me a little bit to be like, oh man, maybe this is the week they put it all together. My other concern is, why have we not seen a complete game yet? Like, what's going on there? You know what I mean? So like at a certain point, and I'm not asking for John Mateer to go throw for 300 yards. I think a complete game could be him throwing for 180 yards, a touchdown or 2, yes. No picks, no fumbles, run the ball for 120, like as a team, run the ball for 120 yards, 100, like whatever, like a complete complimentary game. Don't turn the ball over, and no crazy penalties. Like we've been terrible on special teams penalties. We were second to last in the SEC when it came to specifically special teams penalties. And that is a frustration. So, when you start cleaning those things up, when you hang on to the ball, ceiling's pretty high when you have a defense like Oklahoma has. They just have to stop shooting themselves in the foot. I mean, people talk about, oh, Ole Miss came in as a dog and beat us at home. Isaiah Satania, if he doesn't just inexplicably cut inside and then hurdle nobody and then put himself in harm's way and fumble, he could have just walked out of bounds and Oklahoma would have had the ball down 5 with momentum, like inside Ole Miss's 50 and late in the fourth quarter. Like that's exactly where you want to be. So, of course, that fumble happens, shoot themselves in the foot. But no, I think, again, I don't know which side of it to be. Should I be upset that we're in mid-November and they haven't put together a game yet? Or should I be excited that it is quite possible that they could eventually put together a game, theoretically?
Bama's in the same boat where it's like you've seen glimpses. And that's what makes this matchup so fun, right? Like it really is such a great chess match. And this is why, and nobody knows this probably better than you two right here, and probably Jay with Unfair Sports, that, I'd obviously made content about it whenever Texas and OU came to the SEC, but then you guys I talked to y'all, right? Like I've had y'all phone conversations with y'all, I text with y'all, and we would have these conversations, and I really did believe that this was a great move, not only for OU and Texas, but for the SEC. And one of the things I told Jay last night, I was like, the thing that's different with the SEC is that if you're OU, like you're halfway through October and you've had more big games in the SEC than you had the entire year in the Big 12 in terms of like marquee matchups. But there's a reason why the SEC went out and got Texas and Oklahoma, because they added to the conference, right? Like it was a win-win. And I always was beating that drum like, hey, no, this is a beautiful thing if you're an SEC fan. Like if you're a fan of an SEC program, the league just got better by I believe, a wide margin, especially with OU fans. Forgive me. I've built up a lot of good faith with y'all. Y'all know I like Sark, right? Like y'all know I'm a big fan of what Sark is doing at Texas. I really think he steered that program into a positive direction. But likewise, y'all know I'm a big fan of Brent Venables and what he's done with y'all's program and the direction y'all are going in. So this is why you come to the SEC, and we as fans win. Whether you're a Bama fan, whether you're an OU fan, this should be a great game of schematic football at the highest levels.
Yeah. I kind of said it better myself.
Well put.
Yeah. Go ahead, Trav.
No, I was just saying, well put. I mean, it's
yeah.
And that's where, all these – it's funny when SEC fans have begun now to travel to Oklahoma, and a couple of them have, the ones that are, open to actually learning about their opponents and seeing new places and traveling to games. Then again, most people that travel to games are the good people, like are the fun ones to hang out with, are the ones that actually are not the ones just, doing whatever on Twitter, talking crap behind burners and whatnot. It's funny to watch SEC fans walk around Oklahoma and their campus and see the statues and see all that and say, oh, I didn't realize, what, that you guys had all these, legends, had all these Heismans, had all these, this, that, and the other, walking through the coaches. So it's been interesting as SEC fans travel to Oklahoma. I think they feel a lot better about us being in the conference because they start looking at the trophy cases, and outside of Alabama, there's nobody in the conference with more crowded trophy cases.
Yeah. Sorry, Kirby. Kirby had a Kirbyism.
He's been, ever since Ty mentioned his favorite player, Bauer Sharp, he's been, he's just trying to impress him. He loves Bauer Sharp. Ty, you remember how much he loves Bauer Sharp? Big fan. Says he looks so athletic in everything he does. Even fumbling, he looks athletic. I'm not sure whether Kirby just loved Bauer Sharp, or if it was a trickle-down effect of him just playing under Kirby's favorite coach, Joe John Finley. Joe John Finley, I mean, we all get our shots in at Joe John, especially when he's the play caller. Kirby would not stop defending that brother. So, you know, I think Kirby was the one behind his promotion and raise.
Yeah.
So,
He personally gave the money. That's what I heard.
yeah.
Anyways.
Kirby, if it makes you feel any better, one of the only because I've had negative takes on pretty much every team, whether it's Bama, Oklahoma, Texas, right? That's just if and I'm sure y'all have too, right? Like you talk about your team and like, hey, this is the only outward like negative take I've had about Oklahoma that wasn't as nuanced was when y'all had Seth Luttrell. And I remember before that season started, I was like, I know that there's a lot of people upping Seth Luttrell. I was at UNT, and it's one of the only times I've walked out of a football game at halftime because it was the worst football I'd ever seen, like just so undisciplined. And so I was just like, I don't think this is gonna go well. But that's also why I'm happy that y'all got Ben Arbuckle, because I think that Ben Arbuckle is going to be a rising name in this industry in the next few years. The good thing for y'all, I think it's going to be a few years. So you're going to have him for a few more years because he's young. He's 30 years old. And I did see some
crazy.
I did see some people kind of confused. Kane Walmick had a soundbite that people were like questioning whenever he was like, "Oh yeah, the last time we played Ben Arbuckle, we got our ass kicked." Excuse my French. And people were like quoting it with question marks because they thought that he was referring to last year. But no, he's talking about 2022 in the New Orleans Bowl when Ben Arbuckle was at WKU and Kane was at South Alabama, and Western Kentucky slaughtered them. Like
back with Austin Reed,
it slaughtered them. That's what he was talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. The let's see, because didn't Austin Reed throw for 1 billion yards in that game? They beat him by like 20.
I think it was more than 20. It was like 42-10.
No, this says 44-23.
Oh, was it? I didn't know he had. I didn't remember they had 23 points.
Yeah, Austin Reed threw for 497 and 4 touchdowns.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Yeah. When people talk about like quarterback development and whatnot, like Arbuckle's got some crazy dudes back there. You start talking about Bailey Zappi and Austin Reed and Cam Ward and now Mateer, like if Mateer can develop a deep ball and maybe get some new contacts, we're gonna be cooking. We're gonna be cooking next year.
Well, here's a, and then I'm so sorry to derail this, but here's a kind of a fun one for you as well. A little connection that I haven't seen anybody talking about. You know that he was co-offensive coordinator or passing game. He was some coordinator that year with Bailey Zappi. You know who was the main play caller? Like they shared the duty. It was Brian Ellis, who's now at Alabama. So there's that connection. Not only is Kane familiar with Arbuckle familiar with Kane, but Brian Ellis and Ben Arbuckle were there at the same time with Bailey Zappi, and that offense was putting up like historic numbers. So it's kind of a cool little connection.
Well, I hope they both think that Mateer is going to throw it 55 times. Go ahead and sell out on that. We'll bring back last year's game plan.
Yeah. Drop 3.
Please no.
Yeah, rush 3, drop 8, man. Like you're Matt Campbell.
Please.
Oklahoma City Thunder are on the second night of a back-to-back. They disposed of the Golden State Warriors last night. They were up by 35 at one point. Wasn't close.
Dang.
Second night of a back-to-back. They've got the Los Angeles Lakers and the Fighting Luka Doncic's, and they're up 45-25 midway through the second. So they still don't have J-Dub. They still don't have Lou Dort. They still don't have Aaron Wiggins. They still don't have Kendrick Williams. They still don't have a lot of these guys. So, but still just belt straight to the Lakers. Kirby's Lakers. Down 20 in the second quarter. Man.
B-Man asked, do you guys think that Arbuckle and Mateer got their groove back from third and 17 pickup on? That's when when John ran basically for, I think it was like 20 yards. I mean, I feel like John certainly maybe got his mojo back. I don't think that had anything to do with Arbuckle. I know he called the quarterback draw, but I mean, it's just execution. We've been talking about on the tape. There's been guys running open. I don't think the Arbuckle's not scheming stuff up. It's just whether John's seeing it or not, or getting in a rhythm or not, right? So, I mean, yeah, I feel like obviously the two of them together felt like, as we went on in the second half, that Mateer started to feel it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think to me it's obvious. And that's why I said earlier, it's like when people think about the health of the hand, they're like, is the guy throwing for 350 yards? No? Okay, then his hand's not healthy yet. Really, when you look at Mateer, he's got to run with confidence. He's got to be decisive. He's got to be okay. And honestly, our run blocking helps a lot with that. Xavier Robinson's a good run blocker. Caden Holmes' a good run blocker. Carson Kent's a good run blocker. Torrey Blaylock's a good run blocker. Like, our offensive line is playing well in the run blocking. So he's starting to have confidence not only in his own body, but I think just with the entire offense in the whole. So I think that shows his health, his confidence, his trust in everybody else around him.
It is Q&A time, Kirby. I don't think that we overpaid for Sauce Gardner. It's one game. It's hard to say whether we did or not. I mean, to be honest with you, Drake London, I think, had like 60 yards receiving. It's not like he went off or something like that. And Sauce about had a pick. So this is after, being with the team for less than 48 hours and then flying to Germany. So, I mean, I'm okay. Why don't y'all worry? You know what? I'm not going to say it because Trav's my brother. And, I'm not, if it was just Kirby, I'd say it to him, but I'm not going to say it because of Trav, because of my respect.
So you can't tell me nothing. One of my professional teams is currently world champion. And
we're not talking about that. We're not. No.
Did it by going through your Pacers.
We're not talking.
We can talk pro sports all day. Hey, you want to talk about pro sports? We can talk about pro sports. Go ahead.
We're not talking about basketball. We're not. We're talking.
Don't say anything mean about the Vikings. I'm already depressed.
Yeah, exactly. Don't be coming after the Vikings.
Ty, you're also a Vikings. Oh, okay.
That's right. So
hey. Let me just say this. I told this man right here, him. I told him that y'all should have kept Sam Darnold. I'm just being.
That's still not proven accurate though.
What? The Seahawks are one of the best teams in the league, dog.
Yeah, you know how much you'd have to pay Sam Darnold to come back? We would not be able to afford all these other pieces. We had to pay JJ. We had to pay no, you're not going to break Sam Darnold off all of a sudden because he had one good year in your system. You eventually need to draft a quarterback. So we're not getting into this discussion. My world champs are up 25 on the Lakers right now. So
oh my gosh.
So we about to wrap this in 1 minute. So I'm gonna go watch that.
We're 1-10. And we're currently 1-10, so that's fun.
And we might have a better draft pick than y'all too.
I'll be Sam Presti's a wizard. It will not be because Jay is I'm not getting into that. It'll make me mad.
And honestly, Boomer, as a Bama fan, if you told me, hey, we're going to roll odd out instead of X-Rob, I'd be like, please.
I would be pissed.
Please do.
No, I don't even know if he'll travel
before he hit the tarmac.
This is a good one. Alabama loses because if Alabama loses this game, I think it will be because they are in constant down and distance. And while Alabama can convert them because they're so good in the pass, it's kind of like I said to start this off, that Alabama's offense has these sputters during the game that are kind of odd, just because when you look at how efficient they are, if Alabama's offensive line can't keep Ty Simpson upright and in the pocket, I think that's going to be the biggest determinant for Alabama is if they're able to stay in second and manageable. Because third down is important, but if they're in like third down and 5, third down and 6 for the way Alabama plays offense, that's very convertible because of the way they do things. To me, second down is so key. And like obviously third down is too, but the second down is going to be really interesting to see how Alabama sets themselves up for success on that drive.
Yeah, the same question was asked of us. I think if Oklahoma loses, it is because of self-inflicted errors, the penalties and turnovers. I think that's what it's going to be. I think Oklahoma's defense can hang with any offense, even Alabama's, even Ty Simpson, even Kalen DeBoer, even Ryan Grubb. I think they can hang. It's if the offense puts them in bad positions by turning the ball over, if it's penalties, if it's drive extending penalties. Oklahoma had like 3 drive extending penalties against Tennessee, including on the first possession of the game. So
a terrible call, though.
It was a bad call, but at the same time, it's like, I think they lose because they had over 60 yards in penalties and turned the ball over twice.
Yeah, I would agree. Penalties and just boneheaded mistakes. I'm not afraid, and this is no disrespect to you, Ty, or Bama, or Ty Simpson. I'm not necessarily afraid of it from a defensive perspective because, we face statistically better offenses, though I think Ty may be the best quarterback that we faced.
I think it's the best quarterback and wide receiver room y'all faced from top to bottom.
Yeah, I know that. I don't know. I know some people have arguments with that with Tennessee's wide receiver room. They throw that up there, but I do agree with Ty being better than Joey Aguilar. The one thing I'm a little bit not concerned about is just his mobility. And Ty's not that Ty's not mobile, because he is, but like what Chambliss did to us against Ole Miss, like Ty's not doing a bunch of that, in my opinion. Can he get loose? Yes, but he's not got the same wiggle that Chambliss does, and so I feel more confident in our defensive line being able to maybe get to him in that way, but also at the same time, if he stands in there and makes some strikes down the field, then I think it could be a long day for us just in terms of getting off the field.
Well, there you go.
Yes, Chambliss was a problem with his legs. He was.
Everybody, the whole home crowd got so excited when our edge rushers would run him 15 yards back, and then he would make some acrobatic throw to throw the ball away into the stands, and that's a win for Ole Miss. That's why I said you just have to cash in your pressures. If you're not there, this wide receiver core is going to cook you downfield. So,
yeah, and Ty hit those throws. You will.
Yep.
Yeah, and with Tennessee, like they have Brazil, but the reason why I say I think Alabama's room is better is because you can't focus attention on any one guy. Because if you focus on Ryan Williams, Jeremy, Isaiah Horton, and Lotzier Brooks are going to cook you. And that to me is where Alabama's wide receiver room is different than Tennessee's, is that they can legitimately go 5 wide. And as a defense, you're looking and like, okay, that's a lot to cover. The X factor in this game for me, for Alabama's offense, I said it on Jay's show, is Lotzier Brooks, number 17, true freshman, who is really, really good.
Yeah.
That Tennessee at night, that was no joke. Now I've never seen a game in Alabama, but just given the time of kick, I would make the road environment 0.5% tougher just because it's at night at Neyland. Now I don't know. Maybe I'll reconsider at 2:30, 2:35 on Saturday, but both are tough. That's just life in this league.
Yeah. I agree. We'll see this time next week. Actually, real quick, this is Byron.
Oh, I didn't know that was Byron.
Yeah, he just texted me.
Yeah, Williams has had some drops, but I think that it's not as I've never been as worried about it as other people, just from the standpoint of when you can do what he can do with the ball in his hands. He's always worried about what he's going to do after he catches it, and so I think that it's more of just like he just got to focus on the catch, and he's made some really difficult catches. Against LSU, he had one in the end zone where he just got walloped as soon as he caught it. So it's looked better. It's definitely looked better, but that's why it's so important that you have Jeremy Bernard, Isaiah Horton, Lotsier Brooks, Rico Scott, Cuevas to take that pressure off.
Yeah. Hopefully he hasn't gotten over it for us. for our sakes. But Ty, man, we appreciate you coming on, brother, and spending time with us as always.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thanks for we call
Appreciate you.
Uncle Ty around here. Cousin Jay, like I said, and Uncle Ty now, part of his family. Got his toothbrush over there. Still waiting for him to come pick it up. But Ty, thanks again, brother. Tell people where they can find you at, and then we'll get out of here.
Yeah, you can find me, Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays on Bleacher Report. I do the Alabama content. So as soon as the game ends on Saturday, I'll be live on Bleacher Report on the Bleacher Report app, talking about what went right, what didn't go right. Hopefully an Alabama victory. If it's an Alabama loss, we'll be ranting about the steps that happened. Either way, we're going to be talking ball.
Yeah. Cool. Well, hopefully, for our sakes, we're hoping for obviously Oklahoma win, and for Brent Venables to have gone into two hostile environments in back-to-back games. Maybe not back-to-back weeks, but back-to-back games for him, and kind of cementing himself as like, hey, I'm here now as a coach. And then I know you're hoping for obviously Bama to kind of solidify their standing and potential SEC championship game and a bye basically in the first week of the college football playoffs. So we both got big stakes on the line. Hopefully it's a good game regardless. No injuries.
We can't afford any more injuries.
Shoot.
Hey, yeah. Tell me about it.
We feel you on that. So
2 years straight.
All right, guys. We appreciate y'all. Thanks for tuning in. For the rest of Oklahomans, go enjoy your world champs.
World champs up big right now. Up big, looking good.
Go to bed and cry until Tyrese can actually play again. So, all right, y'all. Boomer.
Up 30. Up 30.